in this guy's eyes, we'll be locked into the Knicks and Pacers Game 5 from Madison Square Garden. We bring in Aaron Jacobson, one half of the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Jay? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I love your hat.
Thank you. Just got these. Thank you, man. Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm very down and out right now.
Yeah, down and out. You're not feeling great. I am of the rare, if the Knicks win tonight, all the pressure's on Indiana going and back into Game 6. I do think, and you know, I think Tibbs found something the last couple of games in going to Landry Shamet and going to Darrell Wright. Darrell Wright?
Is it Darnell?
No, it's Darrell.
Darrell Wright.
No, why can't I? Bro.
He's been in the league for 10 years.
He's one of my brother's favorite players, right? And that's Darrell Wright. Okay, why am I?
All right. He's been in the league for 10 years.
DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
Darrell's his brother.
But that goes to show you, like, Thibodeau went deep into the well of, like, he barely played.
I know, and he can shoot. That's the thing, is like he can play. It's DeLon Wright. Okay, his brother Darrell. I'm getting jacked up here. All right, so
DeLon's been in the league. I'm not wrong. He's been in the league for like 10 years, right?
Yeah, he's been around. He's like, again, he's one of my brother's favorite players. He's one of those like under the radar guys. Yeah, he was with the Raptors in 2015. You know, a bunch of shooters. Like he can play. He can play. So the fact that Tibbs went to him and Landry Shamet, everybody was crushing him for going to both of them at the same time in Game 3. But then when he did it in Game 4, they tied the game. So, I mean, I think that there's a way. My whole issue is he doesn't understand how to use them in the rotation. It's almost like, oh, shit, break glass in case of emergency, now throw these guys out there. Hopefully these last couple of days, Tibbs has been, all right, we're going to play our guys here. We're going to put these guys in here and kind of work that whole thing out. But still, I'm with you, man. They got to start well, and they got to make sure they play a full 48 minutes because we know what Indiana can do.
I've tried to, in my head, create like, okay, what's the best matchups as well? Like, obviously, Thibodeau knows more about the game than we do.
Right.
So he's a little stubborn in regards of he won't go deep into the well. He finally backed off that, and you need to, because the guys are so tired and banged up at this point. It's kind of what happened to them last year. Last year it was much worse, where they just were beat up. Karl Anthony Towns, he's going to be hurt tonight going into this game. But you have to look at this team and think, how do you match up with the depth of the Pacers and the speed and the size? And I just don't know if they can do it, because unfortunately for the Knicks, they went out and got a guy like Mikal Bridges, who has shown that he can defend at times, but his offense isn't consistent. Yeah. And he can't hit a three consistently. And you just can't have that anymore. At this point in the NBA, where it's at, where the game is at, you got to flow. You got to be able to – it can't just be Jalen Brunson in there creating that offense. You got to be able to work and help him out. And, Mitch Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, you try to put them on the floor at the same time. It can be good, but two big guys like that, you got a coach in Rick Carlisle who's been doing this for a long time, who's really smart as well. And he clearly has told those guys, when Mitch Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns are both in there, the second the Knicks score a bucket, I want that ball down the court. I want those big men on the run. And he's done a really good job, and the team's done a really good job at being able to kind of keep the Knicks at bay like that.
Yeah, and I look at it too. Mitch Robinson always wants to leak back into the paint, and sometimes he's getting away from those three-point shooters, and then they make the Knicks pay, because everybody that's out there for Indiana can shoot the three ball, which is, again, I feel like they've made so many freaking shots. Like they've been unbelievable offensively. And I look at a guy like Tyrese Haliburton. He is the modern day Reggie Miller. He really is. Like, he's got that bravado. And I think that kids that are, teenagers now are looking at Tyrese Haliburton the way that I was looking at Reggie Miller, and just, doing the choke signal in Game 1. And
is he a superstar?
I would say yes. I know a lot of people around the league are hating on him. The thing is with Haliburton is that he's got a very funky game, right? So there's times when he takes shots and he misses. Like, he has maybe the worst misses out of superstars in the game. Because sometimes he'll have these shots where he'll hit the side of the rim, and he'll just make that clunk noise. And you're like,
not a natural. His form is not a natural form.
It's not. But, man, he makes open shots. He's incredible in transition. He's got great court vision. And he does make heroic plays. He does make plays at the end of shot clocks and at the end of games. He's clutch, man. And people hating on him because probably his personality a little bit, but also because he does have a little bit of an unorthodox look to him. But I mean, he does have games. This is the thing with Halliburton. We've seen it. Sometimes he has a clunker. He has a clunker of a game. And you go back to Mikal Bridges, you mentioned it before. Mikal has the ability to be really inconsistent, but come up with huge plays, whether it's offensively or defensively. I think that the Knicks are going to have to ride that home wave tonight because it's going to be rocking. The building's going to be rocking. What did you make of Pat McAfee talking smack to those guys that were at the game? Like he was calling them sons of bitches.
Hilarious. I mean, it's funny. It's hey, listen, if you're going to bring Celebrity Row into their town, call it out, have fun with it, try to it's home court advantage. So do what you can. If Knicks fans and the big ones are going to do what they can to get on the road and try to get the advantage in their favor, do what you can to counter it. I'm told that's fair game in sports. All is fair and love in sports. So I love it. But the series is, as a Knicks fan, as you know, very frustrating. It kind of feels like we're at the old Yeller stage. Just take us in the back.
Are we at the old Yeller stage? Yeah. Just don't give them I just don't want to see a trophy presentation on the floor at Madison Square Garden tonight. Like, do you agree though? If they win, so how are you going to feel if the Knicks win tonight? How much more optimistic are you going to be? Is it still going to be like delaying the inevitable?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. I mean, ball. You understand.
Yeah.
This Pacers team, first of all, they're not hurt. I think if Nesmith, when he got hurt in game 3 and came back, if he comes back and the Knicks still win, which they did, if he doesn't play in game 4, even though Mathurin played really good and stepped up, I think that the Knicks have the advantage because Nesmith has been a game changer in the series. Take the offense out of it, even though he won game 1 on his own, essentially, in the fourth quarter. But his defense against Brunson has been the best I've seen anybody defend him in the game.
No doubt.
Able to do that. So that's the X factor. Like when Brunson is in there against Shepard or anybody else, he's complete domination. But when you put Nesmith on him, the size, the strength, the ability to fight over picks and through picks, he's really good at it. So that's been the changer for me. And I don't see them coming out of this because Indiana's too deep and they're healthy. So I just don't see this turning around.
Are you and I want to show you this real quick because I made my came back to the Pedingos last night, and if you make the final out of the inning, you have to wear a tutu.
Who was I talking to that does this?
Yeah. Was it Nick in Sarasota?
It might have. I think it was.
Yeah, they're like, hey, if you make the last out of the inning, you got to wear a tutu out in the field. I'm like, what the? And of course, I made the last out of the inning. I'm like, God dang it.
It was either Nick in Sarasota or damn, I can't believe I don't remember because this was the other day. My memory's so bad.
It's all right. You'll remember it eventually and text me. All right, what do you think of the job of Tom Thibodeau? How are you one of those people that think if they don't win that they should get rid of him, they should find a new coach? Do you think he's been severely outmatched in this series against Rick Carlisle?
Yeah, he's been outmatched, but who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah,
this isn't Mark Jackson getting replaced by Steve Kerr. This is Thibodeau's got so much experience. He defensively, you can see the makings of him in this team. The problem is when it comes down to it in big moments and big series, he plays and he says it. He plays game by game. He doesn't play for the series. He plays game by game. It's like, well, dude, you got to look at it as an entire series. And you have to think of what's going to happen down the line. How you got to make it's a match, a long boxing match, and there's a lot of rounds to it. And I think he waited a little too long to adjust. And I still think now he's tinkering, trying to figure it out. And it's kind of not fair to the players like Wright, who we haven't seen. You're just throwing him on the court, and Shaman, who's got all this experience, but he's sitting on the bench as well. That guy's got a ton of experience. So it's puzzling, but not enough for me to go, all right, there's somebody better that we can put as coach of this team that's going to do a better job.
Yeah, I think you go forward and, even if they aren't able to kind of make the comeback, and we've seen 3-1 comebacks before, but I think going into next season, knowing that the majority of your team is coming back, I would like to see a little bit more Precious Achua, right? And right,
Yeah.
like you got to use these guys, throw them in there. Even like we saw back in the '90s, like guys using fouls against Shaq. Like there's got to be a way that you can steal a couple of minutes from Karl Anthony Towns to get Precious Achua in there, right? Like there's got to be some different way, and hopefully this is the one thing that Tibbs can look at and adjust and go forward. And if you could watch a Knicks game with one of the celebrities that's been on Celebrity Row, who would it be?
That's a really good question.
And it wouldn't be Tracy Morgan throwing up on himself. Hopefully.
No, it wouldn't be Morgan. It wouldn't be Spike Lee. That feels like an annoying little area.
Right.
I feel like Ben Stiller, there could be some funniness and some good energy there.
Chalamet? No Chalamet?
Timothy Chalamet, just because, like, not that I'm going to ever be able to get with one of the Jenners, but, like, Kendall's got a boyfriend too, right? I don't know.
She's never met Aaron Jacobson though.
They're both stunning.
It's amazing. Chalamet had one of the biggest wins of the postseason when people saying like, you're not even a Knicks fan, and this dude had a picture of him with Landry Fields. So I was like, bro, that's like the biggest win that you've ever seen. Is him getting an autograph.
Knicks fan. He's got him as a kid getting autographs from Amari Stoudemire. He's absolutely a massive Knicks fan. Not only that, he turned Kylie and Kendall from Lakers fans into Knicks fans. This guy is, I don't know, Chalamet is a genius.
Would you go watch a game with a former Knick or a celebrity? That's a good one because there's a lot of former Knicks. That's what I'm saying. Like, who are the former Pacers at this game other than Reggie? I would love to go watch a game with like Clyde. Sit between Clyde and Patrick Ewing. That'd be pretty.
Clyde
cool.
would be great. Oakley would be great
if they let him back in the building.
If they let him back in. But even just at a bar, like if you just watch.
Yeah.
Starks. I feel like Ewing would be quiet.
He's been going to the road games too. That's what I love. Yeah. Like these guys are going on the road games too. What have you thought of Reggie Miller's commentary? Because it's driving me up a wall. I think Stan Van Gundy acts like we fired him. I just like this, the comment, everything that Aaron Nesmith. Does Aaron Nesmith know how to fight over screens? My God, they talk about it every freaking game. Everything Indiana does is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. They're playing fantastic. Don't get me wrong. And then Reggie throws out this, look at Mitchell Robinson. I'm like, come on, bro. Like you're saying that. Like it's just, it's so disingenuous. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, Reggie's driving me crazy. Not so much Stan Van Gundy. Like even Stan at the end of the game the other day when they called the foul on Mikal Bridges, he's like, "You're going to call that?" In
those last two fouls were terrible.
Yeah, so I'm fine with Stan, but the Reggie thing is driving me nuts. Like I get it. He's the guy, and it just happens to be the matchup. But I knew it in game one when the picture comes out of Halliburton doing this, and Reggie's like, like, oh come on, what are you doing? This is brutal. And by the way, anyone who says that, I have to say this, anyone who says that the league or any leagues are rigged, stop it. If the league was rigged, they would be calling things in favor so the Knicks would win this series and New York would be in the final. Because the worst thing for the league right now is the thought of Indiana against OKC for ratings. That is not going to be a ratings driver. So for anyone who thinks that leagues are rigged, stop it. Go look at this series. Because not saying they've been the calls to me as a Knicks fan, like I'm biased. I don't think
they have. I don't think they. I've had non-Knicks fans tell me like the officiating has been brutal. Like OG on that one dunk at the late in the game got slammed in the back of the head, and you're like, Jesus, man! Like all the ticky tack fouls. They called the ticky tack foul on Bridges, and he's like looking around, and Mikal's not that. It's very very strange how.
So it's not rigged.
It's been officiated. Not rigged, but if they come back and win from 3-1, that's what everybody's gonna say. I'll take it then. Maybe I will put up with people saying it's rigged if they come back and win. What have you thought of the Rays, man? They've really played well, winning them 7 of 8 there. Drew Rasmussen with a great performance. I feel like they're starting to play well. I kind of called out Yandy Diaz a little bit earlier on the show. I think he's been futile, under 200 the last 15 games or so. But overall, what do you think of the guys?
Pitching, defense, that's what it's built on. Drew Rasmussen now, one hit he gives up yesterday. That's 4 starts in a row where he's given up 4 hits or less in his outings. He's going 6. He's going deep in games for this Rays staff. But, look, Jonathan Aranda's been great all season long, and it wasn't clicking for the team. What's been clicking? Brandon Lau's gotten hot. Junior Camanero's hitting the long ball. Josh Lowe's back and performing for this team. Chandler Simpson's been electric. So, and listen, Jose Caballero, like, I get it. The Taylor Walls, until we get his son Kim back, he's going to play a lot of shortstop, but he's great defensively. We all know that. We don't have to talk about him. But when Jose is at short, I mean, his ability to, when he gets on base and he can steal bags, and he's electric as well. So I like this team. Like, I get it. They're a 500 baseball team, one game above 500, but they look like a 500 baseball team. But I'm optimistic that you have one of the best managers in the league in Kevin Cash, proven. Pitching defense isn't going anywhere. Pitching's only going to improve. Even if they don't get McClanahan back for a while, he's throwing now. But even if let's say he doesn't come back or gets hurt, like, they've got enough where they can sustain. It's all going to be about, are they going to be able to consistently hit the ball and drive runs? And that's what it's always been about with this team, and that's what it's about this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm excited to see how they fare against the rest of the teams in the division, because I think we know what the Yankees are all about, and a big series for them coming up against the Dodgers this weekend. That'll be must see, but I'm just not blown away by everybody else. Like, the Blue Jays and the Orioles are terrible. The Red Sox are on a 5-game losing streak. Like, so it's just like the Rays, I think, even just being kind of the best of the rest, that may help them the rest of the season. Speaking of baseball, what have your thoughts been early on Juan Soto and his tenure with the Mets? It's such a obviously long contract ahead. He's still in his mid-20s, but I know there are some people that are not thrilled with his, quote unquote lack of hustle, how he performed against the Yankees. Anybody in the Jacobson household freaking out about Juan Soto?
No, because first of all, there's no salary cap in baseball, so it doesn't. Whatever happens. Steve Cohen will be able to figure it out. But Juan Soto is too good of a baseball player. Like, he'll figure this out. Do I think he's going to be the guy that mashes a ton of home runs like he did for the Yankees? No. Like, we know the dimensions of Yankee Stadium. That's going to help you out, especially for a left-handed batter. But is he a guy that I expect to start, getting base hits and doubles and driving the ball in the gap? And the hustle is, I think it's a little overblown. Would I like to see him hustle a little more? Sure. Do I need him to, I like balls that are obvious or look obvious at first? Like, the guy makes a ton of money. All right. We need him healthy. Fact of the matter is, he's a gamer. He loves baseball, and he's really good at baseball. He's played in New York, so he understands the media and the pressure. He'll figure it out. He's a professional hitter. He's one of the best. So he will figure this thing out. His fielding has never been great anyway. Mm-hmm. The Mets are good, and they're playing well without him doing well. So as long as the Mets are performing, he'll be able to figure it out. You know who else had a horrible start to their career with the Mets? Was Francisco Lindor. The fans hated him. And now he's a guy who's in the MVP conversation every year, and he's one of the most beloved guys in New York. So I see that kind of turning around for Soto pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. It's such a long contract. As bad as he does in the regular season, if he does bad, if they get anywhere near the postseason, that's the kind of guy you want up there. He takes such intelligent at-bats. How optimistic are you about the Bucks going into the season? Obviously, we know voluntary OTAs going on right now. I am looking at it as a guy that didn't grow up as a Buccaneer fan. Like, I just look at this roster, man, and there's a lot of talent, a lot of offense coming back. What are your thoughts on this team going into the 25 season?
Yeah, I like it. There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of young guys, a young team, a lot of returning talent, a lot of new talent brought in from the draft. Hassan Reddick, we know the storyline didn't show up the first day of OTAs. Let's hope it's a big year for him. And from everything we heard in the offseason, it seems like he's going to be ready to go and hungry. So I'm not too worried there. But the team overall, consistency on the offensive line, addition to the receiver room. So if Chris Godwin isn't right early in the season, Emeka Buka can step up there, and Jalen McMillan got better as the year went on. Mike Evans, we know what he can do. Bucky Irving's going to only be better. This defense, I expect Antoine Winfield Jr. to be fully healthy this year and ready to go. Vita Vea, we know the story. We know these guys. Yaya Diaby, getting after the quarterback, I think they'll be much better at this year. So I have high expectations, and the biggest thing going for them is they're in probably the weakest division in football still.
Who gets on the grass first, Chris Godwin or Shane McClanahan? That's a good question.
That is, I want to ask you, what do you think's going on with Shane? Because I know he's throwing now 90 feet, but at the beginning of the season, we heard that it was the triceps, the nerves, wasn't too much to be concerned about. Let's see where it goes. And now we're talking about him coming back in July.
Yeah, my thing is that when you have any kind of, and I was talking to somebody about this last night, when you have any kind of non-traditional throwing injury, when it's not like torn UCL, labrum, blah, 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 you're always going to get the teams going to go far on the other end of we have to wait, because you just don't know. Like nerve damage like this is just really, really funky, because it's not like you always hear this, like it's always easier to assess a broken bone than a muscle strain, right? Because at least you know the broken bone, like it's broken, it's going to get fixed, boom. This is kind of a similar thing here, where I think they were optimistic, but they were also in that wait and see approach. I think the message that they conveyed was a lot more positive and optimistic than they probably should have. And I think that kind of threw everybody for a loop a little bit when right off the bat. And I think they did that because he was just coming off of the injury, right? I think it would have been a little bit different when he was healthy. He's had some good seasons, and then he does that. But since he came off injury, everybody had these high expectations of him being the starter, opening day, all these different things. I think once this happened, they were cautious before they wanted to sound optimistic. And I'm concerned. I am concerned. Like, as much as anybody wants to say, like, now he's throwing at 90 feet or he'll be okay. Listen, before he even toes the rubber for the Tampa Bay Rays, he's only throwing from 90 feet. He's not pitching. He's just throwing from 90 feet. So then he's got to work himself up. So he's got to go through simulated spring training. He's got to go down for rehab starts. Like, he's not just going to, he's throwing from 90 feet. In 2 weeks, we're going to see him in the rotation. So, I mean, if anything, it's almost like, I think it's going to be like a late season pickup. It's going to be like, it's going to be a guy. There's no reason to rush him. And again, you're not going to bring him back before the All-Star break, right? So you're going to have that time. Why would you, right? So you have him. Take your time, take the next month or so, get into late July, early August, and then see if he can be a guy. Because the problem is, Aaron, I don't know if you're going to be able to build him back up to be a guy that is going to be a starter, right? Is he going to be a guy that you're going to build up and be able to throw 7-8 innings? I don't know, because his innings were going to be limited anyway coming off of the Tommy John surgery. So maybe he's a guy that is I always go back to Andrew Miller years ago and how the teams would use him in the 4th inning or the 7th inning. I mean, that's a pretty good ace in the hole to have. Yeah. But still, you were hoping that, because when he's at his best, I mean, you're talking about one of the best pitchers in baseball. You're putting him up there. Just starting an All-Star game.
Be great. If anything, just put him as an opener for Taj Bradley, so we don't have to deal with Taj in the 1st inning.
He doesn't love that at all. Before I let you go, I got to ask you, what's it been like for you hosting with a baby-faced Pat Donovan?
I was horrified. I felt bad. He lost the bet.
What was the bet? I don't think anybody saw the bet. Everybody just saw that he was going to shave his face, but I kept looking, and there was a couple of people like, what was the bet he lost? I'm like, I have no idea what the bet was.
It was such a dumb bet. We were just on the air talking, and he was speaking really fast, where he was talking about Lamar Jackson, and he was like going through the accolades, and he's like 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And then I was like, what do you mean 2-time regular season MVP? And he's like, that's what I said. I was like, oh, no, you didn't. He's like, what did I say? I was like, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And he said, no, I didn't.
Oh,
I promise you did. And then we made the bet. And if I was wrong, I would have shaved my head, which I knew I wasn't wrong. I heard what I heard. So then we played it back for him over and over again. And his wife is mad at me because she's by him. Yeah. Nobody's seen his face like he's a new man. We haven't seen him like this in 25 years. So I've since I've known him for 15.
I know. He's got like the close stubble, the close gray stubble there. So
I know.
He's on his way back. He's not going back to the baby face. He's not keeping it low, right?
Never again. No. It's if I do a bet, I know where to the well to go to.
That's amazing, man. Let everybody know what else you got going on, man. The show and everything on social media.
Pat and Aaron show. Check us out at Jacobson on air. Check out the Pat and Aaron show, 6 to 9 DAE. We have some fun. If you're not familiar with us, there you go.
Hattaboy, right? Is it called Hattaboy?
Hattaboy. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out Hattaboy. They hooked us up. These are really cool.
Sharp.
What else is that? That's it. I think they did.
Where are you watching the game tonight?
At home. It's sad, naked, alone. Take me in the back. Just do the thing that you do to me. And
I was last Wednesday, and I know you're not a soccer guy, but Manchester United lost 1-0 at 3:00 in the afternoon, and then the Knicks lost game 1. And bro, I went home and I was just like staring into the space, like I'm gonna put on CNN right now. I think I need to get into politics.
They lost to Tottenham.
Yeah, it's terrible. And Ian was giving me grief, and bro, I was in such a bad way. I was in the fetal position. I was like despondent. 31 minutes, I couldn't even move. I'm just like, I really start questioning my motives in life when the Knicks.
Why do we do this to
I
ourselves?
don't know, man. I don't know. People are like, man, you shouldn't be a fan. And I don't know if it's like this for you, but it is for me. You know, the Knicks are totally different, right? Because it's like, I want the other teams to win that I grew up watching but there's just something about the Knicks. Like, I've never seen them win. And all I've heard from my dad is like, oh, it was so great when they won twice in the early 70s and all these great teams. And you had the teams in the 90s and they sucked for so bad. The Isaiah years and the Eddie Currys and oh my God, the team sucked. So now that they're really good and they lose it's one thing if they lose, but in the fashion that they lose last year with the injuries and then this year losing game one, I want to punch a hole in the wall or I want to go in the field.
I feel bad for my neighbors. I'm so loud at night. I'm yelling. I'm like this, F that. I'm by myself. It's sad. It's pretty.
Yeah, you got that right, buddy. All right, I'll text you later on tonight. Hopefully it's good news, but if you don't hear from me, we're probably both curled up in the fetal position somewhere, very unhappy. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. Continued success. Give Pat my love. We'll talk soon, buddy.
You too, brother. Love you. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Love you too, man. Thank you.